All right, this is Simplifying Radicals Part 2. We learned in Part 1 kind of how to break down the radicals. Well, in Part 2 we're going to see that sometimes we have to put together the radicals before we can break them down. So we're just adding an extra step at the beginning. So if we multiply 6 times 18, we'll get 108. So this can be simplified to 3, because that's already outside, can't be put in. 6 times 18 gives you 108. Now, what we would need to do, if this is the way we're going to do it, we would need to find the perfect square that breaks down out of this. So, perfect square of 108, I believe, is 36 times 3 is 108. Remember, this 3 is already outside of the square root, so it's going to stay outside of the square root. Next, square root of 36 is 6. This 3 is already out there with that. 6 times 3 is 18. This square root of 3 does not simplify, does not come out. So we have the square root of 18 times 3. Something you can do if you're unsure if you're getting the correct answer or not is take your original problem, 3 square root of 6 times the square root of, I guess I better, square root of 18. Hit enter, get your decimal answer, and then compare that to your final answer. Now, the only thing this does not tell you is if you didn't get your square root simplified as far as it would go, like if I were to type this step in, it would also give me the same answer. But at least it's telling you if you've got stuff multiplied back together correctly. All right. Let's see, another route you could have gone with this is you could have tried to break down the 9. The problem with that is if you break down this into 9 times 2, you still have the 2 times 6, which is a 12. You're still going to have to put stuff back together before you can simplify it. So the easiest way by far is to multiply it together so that you have it all as one big number first, and then try and find that big perfect square that comes out of it. All right, we'll put 2 more here, do 2 more of these. So first thing we want to do is put this all under one square root. So 2 times 9 is 18, a times a times a times a is a to the 4th power. And now we try and break it down. 18, perfect square, is 9 times 2. A to the 2nd and a to the 2nd are those perfect squares we want, so these simplify. Square root of 9 is 3. Square root of a squared is a. Square root of a squared is a. And the square root of 2 stays in. So this is what this simplifies to. This became the 3, this became the a, and this became an a, so we ended up with a squared. And then we have the square root of 2. All right, one more. On this last one, do not try to put the 7 and the 3 inside the square root. Once they're outside the square root, they stay outside the square root. So 7 times 3 is 21. Square root of 5 and 20 is 100. X and x to the 5th is x to the 6th. So I'm putting the 3 and the 7 outside, the 5 and the 20 inside, and then this x and this x to the 5th also inside. Now, when I break this down, square root of 100 is a perfect square. Square root of x squared, we need 3 of those to make 6. Square root of 100 is 10. We already have that 21 out there. Each one of these becomes an x. So our final answer, 210 x to the 3rd power. So sometimes everything comes out and we really do have no square root left in our answer.